That's the California girl in me.
I
Stop.
can't even fathom.
Both of our faces, look like our faces were gonna melt off. Like the second it hits like sweater weather, and I'm like, okay, now it's rainy. I'm like grumpy. I'm convinced that like I'm like a plant where like if there's not enough sun, I'm grumpy, and I'm also convinced I'm a sundowner.
Sundowner.
You know, like the Alzheimer's people who are sundowners, like where they're really good during the day, and then as soon as the sun goes down, like everything kind of just starts going a little weird and funky for them. Like I don't know if it's like peri rage or whatever, but like as soon as the sun goes down, I feel peri rage. Like I'm just like, don't anybody like get in my path, move out the way, because I just feel like this burning inside of me.
I think that's just you.
It's like a werewolf when like the sun comes down.
Kind of. Yes, kind of. I mean, I don't know. And then there's just mornings where I just wake up and I just feel like I have pure rage in my body. Like I'm like, God, what's happening right now?
Peri rage for sure.
I'm like, I'm sorry, everybody in this house. It's not you. It's absolutely me. But just get out of the fucking way.
Good for you, Carmi. Personal responsibility.
Accountability. That's huge. We know how much work that took.
I will.
Yeah. Okay, so we're a little informal around here. We just like to have basically like a girlfriend hour. There may or may not be interruptions. That's just how it goes around here, but we just keep it rocking and a rolling. So I'll go ahead and intro it now that we've had our little 2 minutes of chit chat. Hey, the people love it. They eat it up. All right, you guys. Well, welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Cycle, Redefining Weight Loss, Health, and Mom Life. And today we have got a clutch guest on here. We have Dr. Ashley Dwyer, former pharmacist, now health and fitness coach, who I would say specializes mainly in hormones. And I really, really am excited to have you here because there's a lot of buzzing going around about hormones, PCOS, Hashis. And you are the girl that I want to bring on here, that we want to bring on here to break it down, simplify it, educate our audience. So tell us a little bit about you.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, what you said is true. I'm still a licensed pharmacist. I just don't practice anymore. So I went to school to be a pharmacist. I thought that was like back in my day, back in the day, pharmacy was like that cool career where they had signing bonuses and, you know, people were getting BMWs to work at pharmacies and you were like, I want that job. And I was a health and science nerd. Like I wanted to work in medicine. And then I realized I didn't want to work with anyone's bodily fluids or be on call. I'm going to keep it so real. Like, doll, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, that's how we roll. So don't worry.
I mean, that's why I didn't go into nursing.
Yeah, exactly. So did that lifestyle, graduated pharmacy school. In pharmacy school, I like did NPC bodybuilding competitions like bikini. And I was like, oh, this is so cool to manipulate diet and lifestyle and fitness and produce these kind of results. Granted, not the most healthy, right? Like we learned that later on. And then thought I could bring dietetics to pharmacy and lifestyle change. And you really can't in the retail setting. There's just no time, no nothing. Went through a slew of my own health issues of like, you know, the competitive lifestyle, not eating enough, overtraining, stressful job, no sleep, growing up in South Florida. So it was just like party when I was in my mid 20s. And it really is like the biggest Peter Pan syndrome ever. I will admit it. And then I completely just burnt out all of my own hormones. And so it took me like 3 to 4 years to finally like get back on track with those, and a total of 5 years to feel normal. And that was when I created my company and was like, I don't want to do pharmacy anymore. I want to help women with weight loss. And then it just transferred into this kind of more functional hormone space, which I'm obsessed with. So that's kind of like my whole history and why we're here. But like you guys said, there's so much buzzing in the industry and a lot of it is crap.
Well, let's be honest. A lot of it is preying on people's pain points because you want to draw attention, because you want to stop the scroll. And so what's going to stop the scroll? It's hormones, shit hormones, gut health, PCOS, Hashimoto's, thyroid issues, all the things. So how does the general lay person really start to kind of disseminate all of this information that they're getting? That can be something practical where they're like, maybe that is me, maybe it isn't me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think something to remember about social media, and especially how the algorithm is now, is it's not always the most correct information that's being shown and seen. It's the loudest, right? And the loudest isn't always, I mean, it's hardly ever correct, because it's meant to be contrarian. It's meant to, like you said, stop the scroll and make you feel like you're broken, right? And so those emotional connective, like preying on your emotions, is how they get you in. And then you're like, oh, that is me, right? So women can, I mean, I think that's very, it's broad, but I think what people need to realize is, even if it is your hormones, right? Like we're not even going to take in perimenopause at this point. We're going to take back a little bit into like hypothyroid, PCOS, sex hormones, all the things, irregular periods. It is a proponent of your lifestyle that has caused these things. So some of it, a little bit of it is genetic, like 5 to 10%, but you have 90% control over getting these things back. And so even in perimenopause, that is kind of out of our control, and how our hormones are just decreasing and kind of fluctuating, the roller coaster years, right? But there's still lifestyle things that you can do to prevent that, like the worst side effects, or have a better time during it. So I think what most women need to realize is that there's a lot of things we can do. They're not broken. And that's where I like to start people, is like focusing on what I call like the 5 pillars of lifestyle change. I think if we just dialed those in a lot more, it would be better. But unfortunately, that doesn't sound sexy on social media.
And
So you
and those
actually, oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say the 5 pillars of health. I know, like, I was looking into it, and it's like nutrition, exercise, sleep, environment, and what we love, the nervous system
Yeah.
work, right? So, I
Yes.
mean, I'd love for you to kind of go over a little bit of each of those categories for our audience. But I mean, Carmi, did you want to expand on what you were saying, or should we
No, go ahead.
just
Expand
move
on
on?
that.
Let's talk about that, because it is the basics, right? The basics that we all talk about. So let's
The
dive in.
boring basics. Yeah.
So unsexy.
It is, but it makes such a difference. And so the 5 pillars, like Del said: nutrition, exercise, sleep, central nervous system support, and environment. So nutrition, what I like to say, and the basics of that. And I have a free guide that if people want to download that, I can give you guys the link for the show notes. But it is basically just making sure you're eating protein at every meal. You're spending more time out of a diet than in a diet. So 80% in maintenance. Like, we actually need to learn how to fuel our body and not just live in a chronic state of dieting. Eating protein at every meal, fiber, at least 25 grams for the day. Like, the average American is getting in 9 or 10 grams of fiber, which is terrible. And we all wonder why our digestion is completely messed up, right? Getting in micronutrients. So it's really just not skipping meals for women. I don't love the meal skipping. I don't love intermittent fasting for women unless you're post-menopause. So the basics of nutrition are fiber, protein, not skipping meals, and eating enough. Like, I think that'll just be a good barrier where most people aren't even doing a quarter of those things, right? And then,
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
would you mind touching a bit more on the intermittent fasting? Because that's still so
It's still a hot
popular.
topic.
Yeah, because I mean, listen, here's my take on it too. Like, there's been studies that show continuous calorie restriction versus time restricted feeding, which is intermittent fasting, and there is no difference. So why are you going to make yourself miserable when you can
Yeah.
just eat throughout the day like normal, and have a better result? I feel like intermittent fasting is great for men. Their hormone levels, their response to stress, it's just better for them to do that. They have a more positive response. Whereas women, there's data lacking in premenopausal women, and this is where maybe I'll like have the rub of not evidence-based. But in premenopausal women, I have just not seen the benefit of intermittent fasting. I see like worse blood sugar, worse cravings, worse cortisol. And I know cortisol is not bad, and this we'll get into the central nervous system pillar, but we need to balance our stressors. And if we're inadvertently like adding another one when women are already overstressed, overtaxed, never resting, never taking a break, in a chronic deficit, overtraining, or just not training at all, why do we need to do that? We don't need to do that. So for me, I just think it's unnecessary and we need the fuel. So
Yeah, totally. We're with you on that too.
yeah. I just don't.
We all know a bitch
Girl,
gets
I wake up.
hangry, and you don't want to be
I
around me
wake
when
up
I'm
starving.
hangry.
Same. I am so hungry as soon as I wake up. But that's another thing, right? Is like women aren't waking up hungry. And I'm like, that's not a flex. That's actually, we got to fix that.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
for
that's
sure.
the programming, because we talk about that a lot too, is how we've been programmed, and it's just going to take a person really starting to question and start to rethink and reframe things and understand this is my body. I have to nurture it. I have to fuel it. Like, let's stop abusing it and treating it like shit.
And I wish that it kind of came from like learn from me instead of making the same mistakes I made. But I think, I'm this person too, like I need to experience it sometimes for myself. And I
Yeah.
think like all of my 20s were with that mindset. And then it wasn't until my 30s where I was like, oh yeah, I can't treat my body this way and like expect it to perform and feel good. Like the skinny talk movement that's still going on right now.
Oh, yes, that's huge, huge right now. Like,
We're
oh,
repeating history. So
Was it you that posted that? Was it you, or maybe it was
you.
Beth, that
It,
posted about like the whole like Coke bodies coming back? Like
that
there's,
was
I
probably
think that was her. That
okay,
was
okay.
Beth. But I saw I did see your reel on that. Just, I think you were like in the middle of having dinner or something. You're like,
yeah.
I gotta respond.
That was last night. I posted like a cinnamon
Yeah.
roll, like this girl eating a cinnamon roll, and that's how they
Yes.
get you with the hook, right? Is
Yeah.
how to eat a cinnamon roll like a skinny bitch, and I'm like, no.
You're like, you just eat the
Oh,
damn cinnamon roll and just don't eat it on a fucking consistent basis.
Yeah. There's a lot wrong with that whole reel, and I was like, no, here we go again. Like here we go. But yeah, so where were we? Speaking of tangents.
yeah, I know, right?
It's cool.
Moving on to the next pillar. No.
Yeah, exercise is the next
Yeah.
pillar. And I
Yeah.
think what you guys try and I'm sure explain to women all the time is we need strength training. So
Mm.
at least 2 to 4 strength training sessions a week, weight training, resistance training, whatever you want to call it. We need that for muscle mass. Like that is the ultimate hormone hack for women and longevity and anti-aging. And I think that still too many women are afraid of getting bulky. And I don't know how we make this narrative die. I don't know how we do
Mm.
it because it's still just circling.
Yeah,
And
it's
that
like
was part of my reel last night too. Is I was like, okay, now you're going to be skinny and you're going to be thin and you're not going to be eating a lot, but you're not building muscle mass. So now you're going to be skinny fat and you're still going to be like getting a diagnosis of pre-diabetes. And you're like, how? I'm so thin. And it's because you're under muscled. So
Mm-hmm.
hormone hack for sure is going to be strength training, being more active than inactive. So if you're only working out an hour a day, you still have 23 hours of the day where you're sedentary. You're not active, right? So getting in the step counts, arbitrary 10K is, I don't know. I go in the realm of like, at least get 8. I'm just happy if you get 8K at this point. Try and make some laps around your work office or, the standard park in the back of the parking lot. Walking pads are a great hack for that. But just
yeah.
getting in more movements and exercising, you absolutely need it. I don't even think a third of Americans are hitting the necessary activity goals, which is 150 minutes a week, which is nothing
It's
really.
nothing.
Yeah. And then of course we still need cardio. But this is where I want people to like start small and add, because if we do everything at once, we're just going to overwhelm ourselves and feel like we're failing. So add in all of that later. But that is essentially like pillar 2 is just making sure we're also moving. And then what I think people don't understand either is if you move more and you have more muscle mass, you can eat more. And all I hear from people is, well, I just love food too much. I'm like, me too, girl. Me too.
You're like, so build that muscle so you could be a machine, and you
Like,
too can enjoy the Five Guys.
exactly. I'm a meat and potatoes girl. I always hear that too. Well, I'm a meat and potato. Like, me too.
Yeah, and unfortunately though, I think, we come from that messaging standpoint from like a positive perspective, but I think women will look at it as more of they reframe it negatively, like, oh, I need to earn my food, or right? And like that's the issue with that. It's just like, the way that you're describing it, you're actually encouraging, we're all encouraging women to exercise, to strength train for all of the health benefits. Of course, first and foremost, this is just an added benefit. You're eating potatoes and eating that, that's not the reason that we are encouraging it, suggesting it. That data, the research tells you, like, this is what you need to do. However, unfortunately, the narrative, across Gen
Mhm.
Pop is more so on the negative side, and I wish that could flip. I wish we could flip that. And how do you do that? That's difficult part. That's a difficult part,
Totally.
right?
Well, I
Yeah.
think I don't know if you guys saw anything like this on your Instagrams or social media over Thanksgiving, but I think it's still hard to flip because we still have people in the industry who are saying like,
Yeah.
gotta earn dinner tonight. Like
Yeah.
they're still
Yes.
perpetuating that narrative. And I'm like, no, this is so bad. Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
didn't
Like,
see that too much, but I make sure that like I made it a point when I posted my workout, like I'm working out because it's Thursday. This is my leg day. Like
Right.
there's nothing more behind it. It's just Thursday. I'm showing up. I'm showing up with consistency, and a day will be had because I ended up going to the movies with my kids. So I didn't work out because I went to the movies. I just worked out because it was
right.
what I was supposed to do. It's what I do on a normal basis. It's my routine. And I also too don't know how to flip that narrative. But unfortunately, we live in a society where people are very heavily influenced by celebrities in Hollywood and whatever and whatnot. And I had heard somebody
Oh,
say, like, how
yes.
amazing would it be if, especially women in Hollywood or women who were celebrities, started to flip the narrative? Because honestly, it would help if they stopped worrying about being their smallest, skinniest self and actually started emphasizing fueling yourself, eating well, training, muscle for, longevity. And so that way you're not granny with the walker, you're granny like two stepping and twerking. So, I mean, that would be a really great place to start. Hey, I'm adamant. I'm going to be granny twerking. I'm going to drop it low still, ass to heels.
We still have our knees. We're good to go.
Even if they do get replaced, they're still going to be rocking and rolling and heavily WD 40'd.
Yes, but we will have the quad function to get back up. That is the
Yes,
deal.
that part. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I'm trying to think, and I don't know if there's an actress. I know Jessica Biel had the whole muscle thing down for a
Yeah.
while, but I
Mhm.
haven't heard, like, I haven't seen her in anything recently,
Yeah.
right? So I'm kind of like, what celebrity woman is,
Remember Jennifer Gardner, I think?
has she been in
She,
anything though recently?
no, back in the day, this is how old I
Halle
am.
Berry did it for a little bit. Actually, so it's some of the men. It's not necessarily the women because I saw Ryan Seacrest pop up on my other Instagram, and I was like, okay, Ryan, like now stressing like the importance of eating well and exercising and building up that muscle, but like we need that whole movement to happen with the women, and like some
Yes.
of them start it, but they don't ever stay consistent with it.
Instead, we get like the
It's
Ariana Grande and
it's gone
Cynthia
the other way.
Oh my
Yeah.
Ocean.
gosh. That is screaming eating disorder. Like I want to like hug
Maybe.
her and like ask her like are you okay? Like are what's going on?
I mean, we can assume that. I mean, we obviously don't know, and I don't want to judge either. But it's scary to see because you don't see any muscle. Like, we're really at this point, that's visually, that is what we are seeing,
Well,
is
because
skin
even
and
from the
bones.
movie when they filmed the movie to where she was doing the premieres, the change is significantly drastic. And that's why I said what I said because I'm like, "Whoa. Like that's too much too fast. Like what's really happening here?"
I mean, we'll just quickly get into it because this is an interesting topic. I saw her address it, and she was talking about how this is her healthiest self before she was on antidepressants or something, and she was drinking a lot and all of that, so she wasn't her healthiest self. Fair, okay, but at the end of the day, visually speaking, like, it's still skin and bones, right? Like, that is all we
Like we're
see.
seeing rib cage and like sunken in collarbones
Yeah.
and Like there's zero muscle mass there. It just looks
Yeah,
like it's skin and literally bones. So that's,
bones.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, as a mom, I'm like, mm-mm. If one of my kids came home looking like that, I'd be like, mm-mm, we're sitting down.
But
What's going on?
your daughters are watching that though. You guys went to watch that, and I'm sure they're taking that in and absorbing that, and they may not be vocalizing it yet, um, but we know it's gonna come up, right?
If we start seeing more bones than muscle, I think there's an issue. Like there's
Yeah,
the trend cannot go back in that direction. That
No.
is
but it
90s
is.
heroin chic.
Yes,
What it was called.
yes,
That's what I was trying to get at. Yes, the heroin chic.
yes.
Because
90s.
remember, I told you when we were talking, we were chit chatting. I'm like that. Somebody was talking about how that's coming back, and I'm just like, no, that is something that does not need to circle back.
Isn't it interesting? It swings, the pendulum swings. We get that, and then we get like the Kim Kardashian super curvy, like that whole thing, and then
But
we go.
they are too, though. They are too,
Well, they're
though. Like,
super thin now too. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Ashley? What's your opinion, or just your kind of take on it, or how you feel about it? Like, with the rise or the popularity of Ozempic, like, are we seeing? And I'm not. There's no accusations here. We're not saying these people are taking it or whatever. But do you think that because the accessibility of it now, it's leading to that heroin chic era again, and it allows for us to get into that now more quickly than if we didn't have access to these drugs for
Yeah,
people?
I think it's a lot easier when you're in a calorie deficit. Do I think like, the people like Ariana and Cynthia are using it? No.
No.
But you've seen the transformation of even like Megan Trainor. I don't know if you know who she is,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
was once, the body positivity and all of that, and now like super, super thin. And so I think it is perpetuating the look and the sunken in face and, the lack of muscle mass. Cause again, they're not training. You can tell just
Hmm.
based on their body. So I think it is making it easier to get back there. Yes.
Hmm.
There's always going to be, this is where I've always been with GLP-1s and even like the newer ones coming out. For people who need it, it's absolutely an amazing drug. For vanity weight loss, I hate it
Yeah.
so
Fair.
much. I think it's
Yep.
dangerous. So
Well, it's just creating another fad diet because honestly, if they're just using it for just merely weight loss without adding in those quote unquote pillars like we're talking about, like you literally just use it as a fad diet.
correct.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think for women, or girls, because we're seeing 18, 19 year olds also partaking, it it to be in a deficit, like, on your own, I think would be harder, more difficult mentally, like, to do it without any GLPs or any weight loss drugs. But with a weight loss drug, it allows, it just allows you to be in that deficit and opens up that space for you to, um, I don't want to say easier, but it does help, right? Like, if you're not thinking about food, and if your digestion and all of that is slowed down, so you're not eating as much. So just that in itself it's crazy. Just that makes it easier for all of these young women to achieve those body types that we're seeing now,
Totally. I
which
think
sucks.
something you said just like
Hmm.
jogged a contrarian opinion in my
Yes.
brain. And I don't know. These are going to be like fighting words on the podcast, but I think
Bring
that
it.
Yeah.
people, like you guys have seen it online, I'm sure. I think that people are so in their like protect my peace era or not wanting to be uncomfortable that we forgot that like results take hard work. It take
Yeah.
growth being uncomfortable. Like diets do suck. That's why we recommend you not live in them for 90% of the year, right? Like you're gonna be hungry. So if we're taking away all of the struggle and we're taking away the ability to build mental fortitude and mental capacity and like build up that type of grit and perseverance and strength, like I think that's going to be absolutely detrimental to society. Like we're already seeing that critical thinking is being lost, but now
Yes.
so is
Yes.
the ability to be a little bit uncomfortable. So is the ability to do anything hard. Like I don't know. This is obviously my upbringing. Like I was like, I don't know how old everyone is, but this is my upbringing, like born in the 80s. So
Yeah.
going through the 90s and whatever of like tough love, hard work, kind of do the thing. And sometimes that can be too much. And that's some of the clients that I get are the type A overworkers, right? But then I think that the younger generation doesn't have to do as much of that struggle. And there are more things available to make it easier. And so I think that's going to be lost on a lot of people. Like you said, like, yeah, it could be harder in a calorie deficit, but like do the hard thing. Like do
Mm-hmm.
that, like tell yourself you could do it and the self-trust will be amazing. Like,
I mean, those are
Yeah.
both really
Yeah.
great points. I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. I mean, because we have talked about GLPs and we have talked about them giving people a little bit of a support system. But then again,
That need it.
we've talked about it though. Like, what support system do you need? Is it just a matter of, are you having food noise because you're just not fueling properly? Or is it, do you legitimately have that issue that needs that assistance of the GLP ones? We don't know. So it's one of those things where it's like a slippery slope. You've got to figure out like what works for you. But yes, I do agree with you, Ashley, in the regards of people. This next generation really just has life handed to them, and you can fight me on that, but I see it. I see it in my own profession because they come in. Because we had a conversation. I'm also an X-ray tech. These new kids come in and they want to bitch and moan, and I say, you're bitching and moaning to the wrong gal, because 14 years in this game, I'm tired. I'm not okay. I was slinging cassettes. Y'all are just direct capture. Like, the machine moves for you. You push a button, you're done. Like, I don't want to hear nothing. Come in, show up, do the work.
We sound like our parents.
right?
They want to talk about how they have to do portables, and I'm like, but your portable is a direct capture. All you have to do, if you clip something on the claustrophobic lung or angles on the lungs, just shimmy it down, and you don't even have to do any extra work. If we clip that
It's
shit
done
back
for
in the
them.
day, we had to go walk to the processor, process it, look at the image. Then we're like, fuck, we clipped it. Go back over there, rearrange the patient again. I don't want to hear nothing.
We had to walk 19 miles in the snow to look.
Yeah.
To take the own chemicals for the X-ray.
Listen, I had to pass pharmacy school without ChatGPT. Okay, like
There, done. Yes, mic drop.
I heard that the nursing boards are now take home. That's all I heard. Did you hear
what?
that? I've heard. I don't know. Somebody can like chime in the comments like after this airs.
Check you, yeah.
But I have heard that they're now going to start having nursing boards be at home.
If anyone listening needed a reminder why you need to be your own patient advocate and take care of your body, it's because the healthcare system is a little terrifying in the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to be a little scary.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Well, all right. Okay, let's moving on.
Segueing back to the other pillars, I think we covered 2. I think we're on number
Yeah.
3.
I'm sure we'll
Number 3,
branch
sleep.
off again.
Listen, I think sleep is the most probably controversial one, because then you have new moms who just like, you're not going to get sleep, right? Like, it's just a thing. It's a phase. We know that that's not going to happen. And then even in perimenopause, we know that your sleep is disrupted. So if we can't like absolutely nail that sleep pillar, then it's not the end of the world. We need to do more of the other pillars, right? But sleep is definitely like 7 to 9 hours minimum, hopefully. And that is time asleep, not time in bed. I think most people underestimate the power of good sleep hygiene and like a wind down routine. There's a lot of people who still watch TV in bed or read in bed or do other things in bed when really like you want your body as soon as you hit your bed to know it's time to go to sleep. So sleep and sex are the only things that I say you want to do in your bed. Watch TV in the living room and then go to sleep in your bedroom, right? Like
Right.
eye mask, keeping it super dark, keeping it cooler, like 68 degrees or whatever your preference is there. White noise machines help. Have you guys ever seen those memes that are like, I used to sleep on the ground and whatever when I was like 19, 20. Now I need magnesium, an eye mask.
Yeah.
4 pillows to like stuff everywhere. White noise machine is so funny because that's me. That's how I
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
I don't even
I
travel
discovered
without my coop pillow. Like, as when I went to Vegas, I was telling Del, I was like, I was so grumpy because the hotel pillows were trash. And like, I will never again leave without my Coop pillow. Like that reel where she's packing all her shit. Yeah, that's me too. Got white noise machine, the humidifier,
Yeah.
the pillow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I am not affiliated with Coop either, and I don't think you are, but I bring that pillow ever. I love that pillow.
What
Because
is
you were
it?
talking about it. You were talking
What
about
is
it on your
it?
stories. You put a whole thing, like you put a question box asking people about pillows, and then the number one answer was Coop. And I said,
Coop.
you know what? My old ass is hurting. Let me go get the Coop pillow. It's wildly pricey in my
What
opinion.
is it?
For a
What is
pillow,
it?
but it's worth it. It's like
It's like $100 pillow. And I was like, really? And then I bought one and I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
What does it do? Like, what's so
It's like a
special
memory
about
foam
it?
pillow. So it's like little squishy memory foam, like stuffing that's in there.
Yeah.
And like it forms to your, like how you sleep. And like you can adjust the firmness by either putting more or less stuffing in it. And I've
Okay.
had it for a year now, and I've had the least amount of issues with my neck. I had to buy one for my husband, and my 8-year-old like took a nap on the pillow, and then the 8-year-old was like, "I want one," and I was like,
See? And
I'm
they
like,
have
"You're
ones
8."
for side sleepers. Like they have specific ones. And if you want to fluff it back up, you just put it in the dryer and it's awesome. I transferred
Actually,
it from my house to
I have found that I don't like fluffing it in the dryer. I actually unzip it, stick my hand in it, and fluff it with my hand. So much better. FYI.
that helps the peri rage, I think. You just
Maybe. Or I'm like, like a cave woman.
I love it. Yeah. So try the Coop pillow. I'm sure like Carmi can give you, I think there are referral codes. She might be able to give you like 20% off, or maybe they're having a Black Friday sale. Honestly, I'm going to like pull that up on my browser. So like,
I just bought it on Amazon because I was like, okay, fine. And like, I was like,
so
really, I
good.
gotta buy like 2 right now.
And-
okay.
And I know you're gonna talk about the other 2 pillars, but having all of these pillars in check, or at least focusing on them, will ultimately help your sleep,
Yeah, honestly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean that's a huge thing. Like if if you're eating the whole nutrient dense foods, more fiber, all of that, like, gosh, who wants gas in the middle of the night? I mean, like if you're eating junk food and stuff, right?
Yeah. Or heartburn or any of that. No.
Or any of that at all.
Or who wants to be impacted for 5 days? You're gonna end up on my X-ray tape. I just had one on Friday. It said no bowel movement times 5 days, and I'm like, girl. And then of course I took the X-ray, and it was nothing but shit and air in there, and I was like, you're literally full of shit.
That don't even get me started. The amount of consults I do where women are not pooping daily, and I'm like, man,
Yes.
all right, so we got to start there. We got to start with the detox pathways.
Well, because it's really not something that like is talked about or normalized, and I'm glad that like we're actually trying to normalize it, because I didn't know either. I struggled for a very long time with being regular, and now that I am, I'm like, oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how to de-bloat or how to like weigh less. Like you don't want to be full of shit. Like let's work on that.
Yeah, you don't want to be there with the big distended belly on my table, because that looks unreal. Like I'm like, can I touch it? Like, is it hurt?
Oh, literally poking poop outside.
Well, I'm like trying to feel for their side because they're so distended. I can't tell like my landmarks on them. So I'm like trying to feel for the pelvis, and I'm like, I gotta touch you. Is it okay? Am I gonna hurt you?
Well, I think that's what's missed too in Western medicine versus like, I hate to even say functional, but more like holistic, I guess you could say, is when you do the x-rays and you see that they're 5 days impacted, like what happens at that point? They go to the doctor and then they probably get told to do a suppository or magnesium citrate. And then like the underlying cause doesn't get fixed, right?
Yeah, we're never finding the root cause of it. We're just treating the symptoms.
Right. And then you see these women who are going to their OBGYNs and they are having fibroids and polyps and really heavy painful periods and like really estrogen dominant symptoms or estrogen excess symptoms. And nobody's like asking them, hey, are you pooping every day? Like, are you detoxing that estrogen every day? Like, that's not a question. And I don't even know if their understanding of the detox pathways for estrogen, because it's not like I learned that in pharmacy school. I don't know if they're learning that in regular Western medicine, but if we're not detoxing estrogen and pooping it out daily, we're just recycling it and then it's being reabsorbed through the body. Like, it's not a good thing. So if we're not getting that moving, then of course we're going to have too much estrogen. Of course we're going to have those symptoms. And so it can just like, it can make you feel crappy on multiple levels. And that is why, no pun intended.
Pun
right?
absolutely intended.
Actually an accident. So that was pretty good. I wish I was like,
You're that good. You're that good.
It just slid right out. But a bum.
Watching this and not like just listening because the look we all see each other. Oh, this is fun. So, but another thing, like pillar 4, jumping into like pillar 4, and what also really heavily affects the gut is the central nervous system. And I think something that most people don't do that will make the biggest difference is literally going outside in the morning and getting sunshine in your eyeballs. Like, just get sunlight in, because what that does is starts your cortisol awakening response, jump starts your body for the day. And then cortisol is inversely related to melatonin. So if we're starting our day with the right amount of cortisol that we're supposed to have, and it's doing the normal pattern where it's going down by bedtime, then we're producing enough melatonin, we're having good sleep, right? Our vagus nerve, vagal tone vagus nerve, is the gut brain connection. If we're not super stressed, our gut is functioning so much better. Like fight or flight, sympathetic versus parasympathetic, rest and digest. Like, we need that blood flow to go to digestion. So if we're too stressed, you ever have clients who are like, oh, sometimes I eat this food and I don't have a problem, and then sometimes I eat this food and I'm totally bloated. It like causes either diarrhea or constipation, right? That is not the food. It is stress. More times than not, 9 out of 10 times, it's a stress response. So controlling the central nervous system is so important. It probably should be pillar 1, but like diet does a lot for the nervous system as well. So if I were to ask you guys, I like to ask this on my consult calls, if you were to think about it, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how stressed do you feel on an average day?
On a scale of 1 to 10? I'd say for like 3, depending on the peri range.
Fair. What about you?
Yeah. I think it depends, I don't know, when personal stuff comes into play, it's going to be higher. And I don't even know if I can put a number on it, because sometimes I don't even realize I'm that stressed.
Yeah.
But I'm with Carmi, like on an everyday, just normal kind of, around a 3. Not really.
That's actually amazing. I might have you guys teach me some.
No, I've had to work at that though. I've had to work at that and learn like because I've realized what my stressors and triggers are, and I've just learned like, you know what, that ain't worth it to me. Yeah, because a lot of times my triggers and stressors are people at work, like the patients, and then now I'm like, okay, and they're like, what? And they get more pissed when I'm like,
what I say.
Yeah. Honestly, Ashley, I think a lot for Carmi and I both. A lot of it comes down to doing a lot of like the inner work, and figuring our own shit out, and nervous system regulation, all of that, including grounding. Grounding things like getting sunlight, getting outside, walking. Even just daily rituals. I talk about having my tea time, which in my culture is a big thing, and being able to practice that. And so being self-aware and being able to recognize these things, but that's come with time. And that's not to say that we perfected it, because I don't think that we ever really do. However, we're more aware of it and able, just to tune into that and ourselves. And I think that helps. And so, so a lot of it has to do with that, and just practice and reps.
Because I've lived at like stress level 8, 9, 10, like my whole entire life. Like when I tell you, like I've lived in fight or flight, like since I was young to like my 20s. Yes. So we've had conversations, Dal and I, where I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to put myself in situations that raise that and elevate it, because it doesn't feel good on my body anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Like how much of that do you get into with clients?
So we get into it a lot, and I ask that on
Good.
consult calls. And my point with that is that is perceived stress, right? That is how stressed you
Mm,
feel from life, from children, deadlines, work, traffic, like whatever else is going on in life. But what clients and what people don't take into account is the other stressors on our body, like chronic dieting, overtraining,
mm,
undertraining, poor sleep, like the foods that we're taking in, like toxic overload. So if we're not also addressing those stressors, it's not that we're never going to be with a life of no stress. That's not going to happen, right? But
right.
for women, and especially women in perimenopause, where we're really sensitive to stress, like the two hormones that I would say perimenopausal women need to focus on the most is cortisol and insulin. And so they will also affect each other. So if we're we can do the work for perceived stress. We can not let it bother us. We could do breath work. We could do meditation, yoga, have me time. I absolutely love that. A lot of things that we work on with women is putting them first instead of putting them
Yeah.
last. So they're not always pouring from an empty cup, right? So learning how to prioritize themselves. Like as women, we're not really taught good boundaries, like to instill good boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Everyone comes before they do. So we're kind of getting them in that routine. And then we're also focusing on the stressors they're not taking into account, like taking them out of calorie deficits or just the right type of food and getting them in micronutrients. I'm not the type of coach that just is like everyone comes into our program stressed. We work with a lot of type A, like women who are
Mm.
doing all the things. I'm not slamming them on ashwagandha, like right out the gate. We're trying to fix their shit, like so that they don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
So central nervous system and nervous system support is a big one, but I think you guys were so right that it does come with time, and it's not easy to like learn boundaries and put yourself first and do the inner work and do all that. That comes with time, but I think it's absolutely necessary for
Yeah,
overall
and such
health.
a big part of it, I think you just at the end there, you nailed it, like the time part. Like we talk about this all the time. It's like we got to let go of the timeline. That is the biggest barrier. One of the biggest barriers is wanting it quick and wanting it now. And these things you can't do in a 3 6 month period. Like you just can't.
Actually,
So
our minimum program is 6 months now. I got rid of the 3, I
yep.
got rid of the 4. Like now it's just 6 months. There's no way to do it otherwise.
Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. We always say like 6 months is where you kind of they finally see like, oh, you're right. You're right. This is gonna take a long time.
Well, because it takes at least 3 months for them to settle in and like really like learn the things if they're like really into it. You know what I mean? Because I've had clients where it's taken them a month just to get with the program. Like of just simply like
If
just
that.
track your food, babe. That's it. Like that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, tracking is still hit or miss across the board sometimes, but again, that I think is we track macros in our team too. I think it's like you have to show women how much they're supposed to eat or what they're getting in. There's no other way to just like guess it. So
Yeah.
At least at some point, and segueing into just environment in general. Obviously there's so many different branches we can talk about: environment, food environment, all of that. So um yeah, I mean, I totally, this is brain fog here because I had a thought. It just
something about
something about environment. Oh, I know we were talking about tracking too, but like for some women, it's like, okay, we don't even have to do tracking, but you do have to be aware at some point how much you're taking in. And if all we had access to was mostly whole nutrient dense foods, I don't think that we would have an issue with, and nor would we need to track. And unfortunately, because of the food environment we live in and the amount of ultra processed foods, I know there's different terms, but we're just going to say that pantry items, junk food that we consume, it needs to be tracked.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's so easy.
you brought up a great
overload.
point though, because of how food is now and how people are eating out more and more and not preparing their own meals, there is a necessity to track. Like I haven't been tracking for the last 2 weeks, but I'm a creature of habit. I continue to eat my same foods. And so all of my meals look very similar. So I know that I'm still sitting in that quote unquote pocket with my nutrition because I'm not veering from my norm. But for people who don't know and who are eating Starbucks and the croissant and the Dunkin' in the morning and then going to Chipotle for lunch and then hitting El Pollo Loco for dinner, like, you can go on the nutritional guidelines of what they post all day long, but we've spoken on this before. It is still a wild estimate on everything. So you think you're only eating 1,500 calories. You're probably
Wild,
not.
wild west. Wild west out there, man, when it comes to actual, intake.
Plus, that is so expensive. So, like, so much sodium.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot. And even like most people are not ordering healthy at those places either, right? Like we can go to a restaurant, we'll look for protein, we'll look for veggies, we'll look for like the same nutritional profile that we make at home. Whereas other people are going to go out and they're going to be like, I want the truffle mac and cheese with the,
Yes.
like
Yes.
all of these fixings and then dessert too and fried appetizer. And you're like, that is 2,000 calories alone, So
Oh gosh, if not more.
yeah. Like if
Yeah.
you can make your meals look like they look like at home and just indulge occasionally, you've nailed it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Environment also though, like yes, we like the people you follow on social media, the narratives and the things that you allow in your circle, but also like the job you work at, like if it's a bad, like there's so many women who are martyrs for their job. I was one of them as a pharmacist. Like I was working for a company who could not care less if I quit the next day and they did not care. And I was killing myself with 12-hour shifts trying to make things work, right? It was such a negative, stressful environment. And then, you have the really unhealthy relationships too. Like if I could tell some of my female clients to divorce their husbands, I really would. Like if I wasn't crossing some kind of line, it is just so bad. And they don't know. Or they're just like so used to it and it's just conditioning or other things. And it's just not a good environment for them. And so dealing with those stressors too. And then even from the cleaning products and the stuff that you use around your house, plastics, BPAs and all of those endocrine disrupting chemicals, like all the girlies were coming around December. Now we have the what is it called? Bath and Body Works candles that are so bad for your
So
hormones.
Toxic, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's just so many different parts of environment that we could go to, right? Like routes. And I'm not expecting everyone to nail all of them, but if you're at least more self-aware of the situations, moldy houses, right? Like sometimes it's really hard to get out of places with mold if you're tied into a mortgage or something like that. But all of that can make a big difference to your underlying health. Huge.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I never thought of that actually.
Wow.
I've never thought of the just the candle. I mean, I don't use any of that stuff just because I'm super sensitive, but skincare products, all of that, right? Like we don't, and women have, my kid's crawling underneath my chair now. So, but you see women with like just their entire bathroom counters full of products.
Like who needs that many? I don't have money for that.
Girl, I use Aveeno. I use Aveeno and Cetaphil. That's it. I'm like,
up my skincare game since coming to Texas. It's way drier here than Florida. So now I have several products, but they're not the ones that are going to be like terrible for you, right? So you kind of have to do your research in that aspect too.
Right.
And all of those are fine. CeraVe.
Yeah, like just your basic kind of skincare drugstore stuff, right? Yeah, I know it's so dry here too, and I'm constantly reapplying my lotion like 3 times a day. It's disgusting.
I bet. So those are like the pillars, and even in the free guide I made, there's like a quiz at the end of like a self-assessment to see how you're already doing or like what people need to refocus on. And I think that's where some people get mad at me, especially as a woman in the space. You guys have probably seen this, is like a lot of women who are going through hormonal things, they gravitate towards the accounts that make them feel broken and coddled, and they kind of perpetuate that victim mindset. And then you have me on the other end that's like, it's not your hormones, it's your lifestyle, and they don't want to they don't like it.
Well, because that means they have to take accountability. That's the real problem right there, is that they're gonna like, what do you mean you can't just write me a script or hand me some kind of template that fixes me? Like, what do you mean I actually have to start doing things and showing up? That's what it really boils down to. Call me an asshole if you
Radical
want, but it's truth.
responsibility. Yeah, radical responsibility. It is also
Yeah.
few and far between. But Carmi, Dal, are you going to Real Coaches Summit in April?
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll be there. We're gonna see you
So
speak.
yeah, I'm terrified, but we'll be okay.
We'll be rooting for you.
Speaking of toxins, we'll do like a shot of tequila before I jump on stage. It'll be
There
fun.
you go.
Done.
We'll have one on deck for you after you're done too.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you. I will walk up there and be like, okay, I'm probably gonna black out during this presentation, so we're just gonna roll. Like I would be so nervous. But I think the speech I want to bring and what I think women also need to hear to Real Coaches Summit is it's going to be practical takeaways for PCOS women, because I think what you guys see also and what women are seeing now is like, oh, you have this, like you need all these peptides, all these supplements, you need GLP-1s, you need all these drugs, and this is how you deal with PCOS. And like, that's not practical, right? That requires prescriptions, that requires compounding pharmacies, that requires like a lot of stuff where we're not actually fixing the underlying causes. So I want all the coaches to be able to walk out with these nutrition and fitness and whatever type of tweaks, and then be able to like immediately institute it with their clients, where you don't need to now, have a connection with a compounding or a HRT place so that they can get peptides. I think that those are great and they're up and coming, but I still think if you don't fix the foundations, if you don't fix the pillars, it's only going to be so good for a little while, or you're stuck on them forever, right?
So I have a question for you, and you kind of brushed on it at the very beginning of our conversation, where you said 95, like 10% is going to be genetics based off of like what they run on you and what they find, and 90% is going to be lifestyle. Now, I believe you have PCOS, correct?
Like adrenal PCOS. So
Okay.
yeah, not the typical presenting one, the other one that's like the lean, high stress girly.
Okay. So let me give you an avatar. You've got somebody who's wildly sedentary, doesn't work out, doesn't eat well.
Use me. I used to be that person.
And now they're saying they have no energy, they can't lose weight, it's got to be their hormones, it's got to be PCOS, or it's got to be Hashi's. They go to the doctor, they run the panel, and they're like, oh, surprise, you have Hashimoto's and PCOS. How much of that is actually those diagnoses, and how much of that is actually their lifestyle, which you're already alluding to it, but like, is it one of those things where it can be misdiagnosed because of lifestyle?
Yeah, I think it can be. So here's the thing with like autoimmune conditions too, right? Like autoimmune conditions can be genetic. Usually, if you have a history of those in your family, you are more predisposed to getting them. And then if you have one, you are more susceptible to getting more. It's just a thing because your immune system's already in overdrive, right? But if you are not living a healthy lifestyle, you are putting your immune system into overdrive. So if we were like, I've seen people reverse Hashimoto's antibodies all the time without medication. We just need to fix stress, fix gut health, fix what we're eating. PCOS, I've also seen go into remission. I've done it with my clients and gotten them pregnant and all the things without birth control, without these types of crazy medications. So is it being misdiagnosed? Maybe there's a couple of people who are using it as like the umbrella term, like not Hashi's, but PCOS, because, fibromyalgia, IBS, some of those things are just like umbrella terms to cover pain and to cover stomach upset, when really it's SIBO, H. pylori, like something else going on in the gut, right? So I do think that some of it can be genetic, but I think most of it is influenced by lifestyle. Like, have you seen the meme that's like, type 2 diabetes runs in my family? And it's like, no one runs in your family. So I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
I've seen that one.
What people think is genetic is also their habits from their family and how they grew up and what they learned. It's conditioning. It is just what they're used to. So they think it's genetic. Like, well, my family all has type 2 diabetes. So it's definitely from my family. There's nothing I can do about it. Like, no, your family all has the same lifestyle also, so it could just be that. And regardless, if it is a genetic component or not, there's So what do? Do you just like succumb to the diagnosis and just let it like take over your life for the next 50 years? Or do we do something about it so you still can lead like a normal life? Like I have hypothyroidism. I have, adrenal PCOS. I had diagnosis of IBS and stuff in my past. What kind of life would that be to just not do anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically just allow that diagnosis to be your whole entire identity.
Right.
Yeah. And Carmi and I were talking about this, and we were going to bring this up. So, I've lost like 120 pounds. So it's been about 4 years, give or take sometimes. But I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, in my 20s. So my mom has hypo, and my dad has hyper, so genetic, right? But I started to struggle with my weight in my 20s, but it wasn't because of that. It was, maybe it played a tiny role. It was my lifestyle. It was eating out. It was drinking. We were partying in our 20s, and that just, and then yo-yo dieting for 2 decades, and just gaining, 50 pounds, 60 pounds, losing it and gaining more and all of that. And when I finally decided like 4 years ago almost to do it differently, it was just all of these pillars, nutrition, movement, at some point I did take up strength training, and sleep has never been the greatest, but hey. But I had all of the things against me: hypothyroidism, postpartum, high stress, alcohol dependency with alcohol, bad relationship with food. And that's just to say that yes, these things do play a role, but circling back to what you said, you got to go back to the foundations, the basics, your 5 pillars of health.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
so I have another question for you. Okay. So what is your take on this hot take? I see a lot of people with PCOS promoting carnivore and it helping their symptoms or helping them with whatever. What is your take on that? What is the thought process behind that? Why are they saying carnivore is helping them?
70% of PCOS cases are insulin resistant. So if we're taking away carbohydrates, it's of course going to increase insulin sensitivity for the short term, not necessarily the long term. So that's where it's helping them with the insulin sensitivity and the glucose spikes and the fat storage probably, but you still have to get out of that, right? You can't stay in carnivore. So it can be used as a short term, like even keto, a short term solution. Then you have like a small percentage of PCOS patients who have inflammatory PCOS, which is actually a lot of like gut dysfunction, food intolerances, things like that, that is causing inflammation. So if we're getting rid of most food groups by just eating meat, it is eliminating some of that inflammation. So we're seeing better outcomes. But again, they don't need to stay carnivore. And in PCOS, you're already metabolically damaged per se. It's a systemic metabolic issue, not just a reproductive issue. So if we're then staying carnivore and we're jacking up saturated fats and we're jacking up LDL, where these patients already have high LDL, high triglycerides, I think that would be an awful diet to stay in. Like one of my inflammatory girls actually came to me because she was in the hospital with triglycerides over 500 and pancreatitis. And then imagine me putting her on keto or carnivore and then sending her back with triglycerides and LDL like that. Like no way. So I think for the insulin resistant crowd, it might be able to help. And it does help a little bit with taking down the inflammation in the gut. But then if you do it for too long, you start building up a microbiome that is no longer able to process fiber. You're fermenting meat. You're not going to the bathroom every day. So we're not recycling, we're not getting estrogen like we should. And in PCOS, sex hormones are already an issue. So I think it's a temporary Band-Aid. I don't think it's a long-term solution at all.
So what, in your opinion, would be a better protocol that would be more sustainable?
RCS. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's leave
it for that. Well, then. So if you want to know, get your ass in a seat, go buy a ticket. You're welcome. Shameless plug.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be going through all 4 types of PCOS because the problem is most doctors don't even tell you what type you have. Like if I were to do carnivore as an adrenal PCOS girl, that would totally stress out my system more because I need the carbs. I have a thyroid issue. Like I wouldn't be able to convert. That would be the worst case for me. Whereas it could be a short-term fix for insulin resistant. So I think it's really important people know what type of PCOS you have, and you can definitely figure that out by labs and certain things. Like I'll go over that too. And then protocols for each type. So that's my plan.
Okay,
Ooh,
I love
exciting.
it. I love
Yes.
it. Definitely
Yes,
going to be in
that's-
the front seat for that one. Well, because it's something that, I really want to learn about because it is, again, it's buzzy. People are talking about it. And, I don't want to see women still stuck in that cycle where they're like, well, this is just me. I just have PCOS. And, oh, so-and-so, Betty from, the block is doing carnivore because it works for her PCOS. But for how long?
Exactly the same amount of time that GLP-1s are going to help for PCOS. And that is the new thing too. So
Yeah.
there we go. It's going to be fully loaded.
Well, I'm curious to see how the trend's going to go through, because at some point people are going to have to get off of it because I'm sure financially they're not going to be able to afford it. Because I see all over the mommy blogs, women up in uproar because now their med spa is no longer allowing them to get the compounded stuff. So now they got to try to go to the doctor and try to dramatize some kind of thing that they need the GLP-1s for to be covered by insurance. And it's they're like, oh, just say this or just say that or just say you have sleep apnea. And I'm like, oh, for heaven's sakes, can we just start with the basics?
Nutrition, exercise, sleep, environment.
The amount of times I have to stop my thumbs and put them away before I start because I don't want to sound condescending because I do understand that this is real life issues for them and I don't want to invalidate their feelings. But at the end of the day, I know what you need.
Yeah. I think sometimes I have to remind myself and put myself back in the shoes of what I felt like at 27 when I was getting this diagnosis, and I felt like absolute shit. And I just wanted something to make me feel better quick, right? Like the lifestyle stuff, then I didn't realize I needed to change until I was about 30 and I was diagnosed at 27. So it's just people don't know what they don't know. And then they see incorrect stuff online and they just gravitate towards what's going to give them the symptom relief sooner. And so I can't really blame them, but I do this is where I want us to be loud. And we still need to definitely share the lifestyle things and share the social proof and the clients it worked on and how we're doing the same thing and practicing what we preach. And, I have hope that one day it will be enough and, more people will hear it. So
we can only try, right?
Yes. We can only lead by example. That's all we can do. Because at the end of the day, if people aren't ready to accept it, they're just not ready. But hopefully one day, at least we're putting a bug in their ear and then can maybe go back and be like, oh, that one time those girls were talking about that. Oh.
Yeah. What did I saw a stat that someone needs to hear something 17 times sometimes or see something before it my in. And I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So if I'm saying it, you're saying it, Val's saying it, other people are saying it, maybe eventually it will just stick.
Okay. Now we do want to be mindful of your time, but I do want to ask you, what is a practical approach that somebody that thinks they may have hormone issues, where should they start? Should they start at the doctor? Should they start with their lifestyle habits? Should they start with both? What conversations should they be having with themselves and their providers?
Here's the thing with hormone issues. I was going to say, I will tell you if you have hormone issues, but
sign up for Ashley's coaching. Done.
We have a free quiz that I give women to see if they actually have hormone issues or if it's just, not anything. So what I think they could do, but there's caveats, right? If they go to the doctor and they get lab work done and then their doctor says everything's normal, we know that everything's not normal. We know that a TSH of 3.5, the doctor's going to say that's normal. I'm going to say that sucks. And I need you to be under 2. This is why you're having symptoms. And doctors aren't going to test all of the necessary labs. I want to see free T3. They hardly ever run that. They just run TSH. So it's hard for me to say, if you think you have a hormone issue, go to your doctor because I think it will be incomplete. But I would say, go to someone you trust, who you can ask these questions for online. If people want to bombard my DMs and tell me what's going on, I will have conversations with them. Tune into podcasts like this where you can hear stuff. Try the pillars. Absolutely try those pillars. And if you still can't see any results or you feel like crap when you are dialing in most of those lifestyle pillars, then yeah, we may need to get some blood work. Even for our clients, if we put them in a deficit, they're doing all the right things for at least 12 weeks and we see nothing, then I want to see some blood work, right? Like, I don't have all clients get blood work at the beginning. If they have it, cool. If they want to get it, awesome. It's only if we like run into a problem that I will require it. So at that point,
Right.
that would be like any coach, like even someone who
Yeah,
doesn't
that makes sense.
yeah, like go see
Yeah.
what's going on because this is technically supposed to work, you know?
Hasn't been. What do
So
you mean? You actually make them like do application stuff first before you start running labs and start trying to find a problem? What?
people spend like $1,000 immediately upon starting with me to run all
We
these
start
things.
with the practical approach first? My God.
Yeah, but unfortunately, women, we're speaking women just generally because that's who we, deal with. But like they'll pay for that. They'll pay for someone to tell them it's something, other
because they
than
want an
just
answer. They want to know. Like it's got to be
other than
this.
trying the basics. Yeah.
It's not because just walking with my weighted vest isn't solving my problem. It's got to be something else.
Sorry,
So,
guys. I have my kid in the background.
women aren't giving themselves enough time to see results. Like that's why we went to the 6-month only program or 6 or 12 months because hormones are not fast. They are the slowest thing to get to change. And even if we are working on cycles and period cycles, menstrual cycles, like I need to see 2 to 3 months before you're even regulated. So it's really slow. And then even if someone starts thyroid meds, that's 4 to 6 weeks we have to wait to see if the medication's even working.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be something that's quick. And unfortunately, when women try something, I've seen in my practice and experience, like they will do 3 to 4 weeks, not get the result right away, and then want to switch. And I'm like, no, this is what you need to stay with. We can't keep switching shiny object syndrome. This is why we're still stuck, right?
Yeah.
So I think it is giving something a solid 3 to 6 months and then changing or getting blood work or doing something like that. Like it's not going to be quick when it's hormones.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. So
It's
we will go ahead and link all of the now my brain fog is kicking in. We'll go ahead and link whatever resources Ashley gives to us in our show notes. Where can people find you?
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Instagram. I'm a very chatty Kathy on there. My handle is dr.dwyer, so dr.dwyer. Follow along, ask me a bunch of questions, slide into my DMs. I'm very active on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to check out our website, teambdncoaching.com, but Instagram is the place.
And hit her up. She really does always answer back, guys. She always puts question boxes up. I've seen you run several little boot camps, like master classes. So keep your eyes out for that. If you even are remotely questioning whether or not you have hormonal issues, but if you're not addressing those pillars first, she's going to tell you that first.
Yeah. How do we make unsexy sexy? That's what I need to research. Like, that's what I need to do.
We have to be in bikinis with our tits and ass out. That's how we make it sexy, and I refuse. I'm too old for that shit.
That's gonna make me have more of a male audience. So I don't know if, and that's not the clientele we're speaking to, right?
That's not, yeah.
Dang. Maybe we just need the scroll stoppers, and then we're like, just kidding. This is how you do it. Got ya.
Just a flash.
You guys are gonna see me with my next reel of like, psych.
You're welcome. You're welcome for the idea. It's just gonna be you, like at your feet with like some high heel stilettos on, like, and it's gonna zoom up to like your calves. You're gonna be like, just kidding, y'all didn't really think that, right?
Yeah, it's gonna zoom up to my calves, and then I'm gonna be dressed like Adam Sandler and be like, just kidding,
with the trench coat and the beanie. Do it.
Oh, sexy.
Oh. Wow, this was so much fun.
Amazing. This one was fun. Thanks, guys.
Thank
you for being with us. We appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Vegas and learning. We'll keep everybody posted on that. But yes, thanks for joining us, you guys. And again, hit her up if you have questions. She's more than helpful.
Thanks, guys.
Yes. All right. Well, if you guys like this episode, please share it with everyone. And until next time, bye.
Bye bye.